I'd like to call a meeting to order. Almighty God, you have blessed us with memory, wisdom, and skill. Help us to use them wisely in service of our town government. We ask this in thy holy name. Amen. Salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Welcome aboard. And we have a new Julie. Julie's in Florida. She'll be back tomorrow, I believe, and back to work on Thursday. And Sarah has agreed to sit in tonight, take a Julie's spot. On the public forum, Calvin, you got anything? Nothing? Nope. Thank you. I would like approval of the minutes of April 9th as our regular board meeting.
I only see one correction in the April minutes. It's on the first page, the fourth paragraph. It is the third sentence. It should say in the past, not pass.
Nice, I get that. Okay. Any other corrections? If not, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. I'd like a motion to approve the town clerk's monthly report.
I make a motion that we can include the town clerk's monthly report.
I'll second that. Thank you. Is there any question on the town clerk's monthly report? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried. So you make sure that Julie gets that, and she keeps those on file for herself, okay? Thank you. You have your monthly JCO report. It's quite extensive. It's strictly for information. Please read it over. You have your zoning Board of Appeals meeting on April 18th. Please try to read these over. It's really an update of what's going on around the township. We do not approve those boards, zoning and planning boards approve their own minutes, but they're very informative. You certainly will know what's going on.
Larry, have you had a chance to talk with Mike about the Prairie Mills variance? Is that still a contentious state?
That, they've had a second meeting on that, and to my knowledge, the story's over with, it's done.
Okay, that's
Unless
what I read
somebody-
here, and,
Unless somebody appeals it again,
okay, sounds like
okay?
that.
If you read the minute, the local zoning board did not entertain it the second
Correct.
time. Okay? So I have not heard any complaints since, okay? In fact, one of the issues was the running of the reefers. And that one particular week, they told me, in a course of 7 days, they only ran the reefers 6 hours. And that may not be true every week, but to my knowledge, unless that comes back to me, it's over with.
Well, it's something we're gonna get involved in.
No,
Just curious to
that's,
see if it does resolve.
I try to stay clear of zoning boards for a reason, okay? We've got two letters from Charter Communications. Locally known as Spectrum has some exciting news to share with you. Effective May 13th, which was yesterday, they will launch the Spectrum Originals On Demand Channel 2010. Okay. There's a second letter from them. On or around March 29th, you received the launch information for Video On Demand Fitness subscription. It will not launch in your area on or April 30th as planned, but it will be launched at a later date to be determined, okay? Now, I have a contact number here if anybody wants it to call them. Oh, excuse me, I skipped one. We have our pre-billing reports for the EDUs for the next quarter. I would like to motion to approve those.
Has this changed since the last time we approved it?
Pardon?
Has this changed at all since the last time we approved it?
Not to my knowledge, the same thing.
Okay.
I think last month we approved the water bills. Water bills, okay?
Okay.
This is, we try not to send them out both at the same time, so people won't have to pay
Right.
both in 1 month, okay? Well, I don't believe there's been any new changes in the past, since the last time we amended them, which is what, 3 or 4 months ago or more?
Yeah, and it shouldn't happen very
No,
often.
right.
because it's-
No. Okay. And no concerns have been brought to me since we amended the last time, okay? But we do need to approve the EDU bills. If I could have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the billing for the EDUs.
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any questions, concerns?
I guess my only concern was the number of arrears. That's a pretty large number. We're looking at, I think I counted 52, but I think that subtotal they had was 55.
Well, as you, yes. As you probably know that, if they're not paid by the end of the year, they go on the re-levy.
Correct.
So we do recoup our money that way.
And that's part of the reason we have a cushion to,
Some
because we
people,
expect it.
Right.
I mean, it's-
some people, for some unknown reason to me, they prefer to pay it on their taxes next year. If I'm correct, our re-levy last year for water and sewer bills was roughly $42,000.
It was.
And we usually get that late January, sometimes in February. Okay. If you remember, we borrowed a little bit of money from the town fund to replace it a few weeks later. It works, it's not the best scenario in the world, but it does work, okay? Okay. The superintendent of highways report, Alan's not here tonight, but they started sweeping the roads. They've done several, got more to do. They were out all day yesterday, I'm sure they'll be out the rest of the week. Did not go out this morning because it was raining. I have nothing other, I don't know of any committee. Brian, I believe you have a request for,
The grant, or-
this, for the board to approve applying for a grant for parks.
yes. The Clinton County Health Department, again, is offering a $5,000 grant to areas in the county for a Healthy Neighborhoods project, and it's a maximum of $5,000. They prefer there's some matching or in-kind services with it, and it's geared towards getting people moving. So you might like the idea of putting up a street light or buying bleachers or a dugout, but they don't consider that making people active, yes. It's geared more towards like a walking trail, and you know, the Village Rails is going to do that. Unfortunately, they're very expensive. And then, you know, things like a track field or something of that nature. Sarah and I sat down a little while ago, and some of the things we discussed, you know, we're trying to keep things low-key, and a little repair of the bleachers that are existing up there. That's something we can do in kind, so that helps, just tightening those up. And I know Clark had mentioned it before, a soccer wall, something, a wall you can bounce soccer balls off. That one might be a little tricky, but it is something that might be, it probably is worth investigating. Whether we can do it or not, I don't know, because, you know, it depends on your foundation and, you know, where you would put it on the field, and you know, whether it would be tall enough so kids wouldn't be able to climb it. Although we'll probably catch adults doing that. Also, one ball field and one soccer field up there, and it would be geared towards to Little League or younger age group for the soccer field and the ball field. Hopefully, we could keep the specs as close as possible to the Northern Frontier League.
Little League.
Little League specs, but it wouldn't be exactly the same because their requirements are a bit more than what the county's requirements are. So that was another thing. Also, some of those large schools that the telephone companies have, like for telephone wire and stuff, they might make a good table for people, because we really only have one picnic table there. You know, there's no chairs or, except for the bleachers, which are facing the basketball court. There really isn't any place for people to sit or put anything down. And then another place I saw, a playground buried half of it. So there was only the top half, but straight up and down, and they buried the bottom half. So the kids had a little thing to climb or, you know, hide behind. Very inexpensive. You dig a hole, you know, we could get Alan, would dig a hole. Another in-kind thing from the phone companies or Alan, you know, to help, so that would help in kind. And putting in the backstop that's presently at the school that's surplus, I believe we have it, I don't, and getting that moved again would be in-kind services, and it would be a good step towards getting that ball field there, because that's the biggest expense, I think, that and the fence. That would be a start, and keeping it sand. Alan says there's some low spots and soft spots in the ball field portion. And if we kept a dirt pile up there, it would be good. We could just fill it in as we go. I really don't think they're any very deep. You know what I mean? It's just depressions. I mean, my lawn is full of them.
Is a real strong consensus of the people who live up there where to put the ball field?
Currently, at this point, it would be in the farthest corner down. And the reason being, they would probably, at some stage, we'd like to develop more playground area there, so that if you had it on the other, on the side closest to the playground, you would shorten the field quite a bit, because you wouldn't be able to make any more playground space or toddler space or a pavilion. That came up at one point, that they wanted was some kind of pavilion, so if it rained, you'd be able to go under. At this point, that's probably where it would go. I mean, I can double check and go up and look at it, but that seemed to be the best place, because it allowed for growth in that area closest to the playground. And I'd probably like to see some trees someday, but you know, you plant a tree, 2 years later, somebody goes, yeah, that's where the walkway's going through the.
Yeah, does they have an overall plan of the whole layout of the field for future development?
A tentative one, yes, there is one. We had that here, but it's a work in progress. It's the same thing. If we don't get the grant, it could lay out some thoughts on what we might want to do there in the future. And we do have a lot, not a lot. We've had a few people actually help maintain the park up there voluntarily. We have one couple that. The Canties that bring in the bottles. They have a bottle return place. So if anybody has empty bottles they want to bring, Perry's Mills Rec Park would be a perfect place to bring them. And they've both been very successful in bringing in some money.
Now, is this John Candy?
That's their son.
That's a sign.
Yeah.
Okay. Because John Candy that I know is moved.
Yeah, he's in Champlain.
Right.
Yeah, he's expressed an interest in continuing with the whole thing. But I'm just throwing out thank yous to the people who help maintain the field free of charge. And Dion is another person. He comes and helps me because he picks the grass out of the playground area. It's amazing how much grass can grow in sand that's churned up with kids playing in it and everything. But and he picks the grass out, and so the community is very, very much involved with this, and the playground's good. The porta potty went up in around the 1st of this month, so there's a porta potty for about 5 months. So this would also act as a template, and if anybody has any small ideas, I mean, you know, it would be good to add this. The deadline is Friday, so we're gonna have to push it, but I think it's worth it, even for $5,000, it'll give us a little push. And what we're asking for isn't a whole bunch. You know, it's a 5,000 max, actually, and again, it's geared towards activities, getting people moving is what they call it, and I don't see.
So do we estimate that that will pretty much, you know, use up that maximum amount if we were awarded that 5,000?
We'll shoot for it, but a lot of times it helps to get guidance from the Clinton County Health Department on how much money they have, how many people are applying, what you're applying for. So they may say, well, yeah, 5,000 in the town of Champlain is good, we haven't spent money there lately. Or they may say that, you know, we've done a lot there recently, and Keysville hasn't had any of this money, the $5,000. Or they may have somebody who is putting in a walking trail, which has a higher priority than a soccer field. So, you know, they may come back to us and work with us. I mean, the deadline is Friday, but, well, Monday actually, I guess, is Monday, but I'm sure, you know, we could work with them if they have further questions.
So what we're asking for now is the board's permission to apply for the grant.
Yes.
Correct.
And Brian's outlined some of the stuff, and I'm sure $5,000 wouldn't do all that stuff.
No,
But
That's what I'm assuming.
Pardon?
no,
That's what I'm assuming.
no, but it's a start, I mean, like.
What's more than you have?
Yeah,
Okay.
really it would be good to get that stuff going if
Okay.
we can. And I would estimate so far, there's been around $30,000 spent there from donations. Actually, budget, what the town's probably spent on that is around 5 out of the 30, so.
Okay.
The playground equipment is what made a lot of that. Look at the price of real playground equipment if you want a shock.
Unreal.
It was, we'll probably get shocked when we look at soccer stuff. And the basketball court was repaved, that was really nice. Alan was very good at getting that done, so. It's a work in progress, but it's a good work in progress.
And this is it's a one $5,000 grant that the county health department gives every year? Is that what they do, or?
I'm not sure, my understanding is that it was tobacco money,
Okay.
and, you know, that's a ongoing.
Because as long as they keep getting revenue, then they'll probably.
Right, that's what
start
helped pay for the recreation trail, but then they ran out for paving.
Well, they get that money every year.
Well, there is a,
The county gets tobacco money every year, I believe.
yeah, it's been going down, I believe, the amounts, it is going down, and it eventually they say it's not gonna be there
Well,
anymore.
I think that's right. I guess we need to take advantage of it when we can.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, I mean,
The only suggestion I would add to that list would be the older demographic groups like to play that. Instead of tennis, it's a smaller court, it's not bocce. Pickleball.
Yes.
And that would be very good for older demographic groups.
I,
But I don't know what it would cost to put in.
not much. Actually, what I'm thinking of, I did a lot of research on that. Depending on how much you want to spend, I mean, you can literally get a pickleball court set up for $100 because you could just lay it across the basketball court.
Okay.
And the dimensions are pretty much the same as what we have at the basketball court. And the pickleballs and the
Rackets?
rackets, yeah, I knew what that was.
Yep.
The rackets are, you know, anywhere literally from $5 to $500 I'm assuming the $5 ones are not gonna last, but I don't know whether anybody needs a $500 one. But I did a budget for at one point, it was around $250 to get reasonable equipment. And the net stows, so, you know, once you're done your pickleball, you can just take it up and put it away. Yeah, it's a big game right now. Most of it's indoors in the gym, but a lot of the people, I follow, I'm on the Facebook page, and Mary Ann Sorrell Castine is really big in it, and she gave me a lot of ideas concerning pickleball and Plattsburgh leagues and that. And they do play it here, but it's inside, I believe.
Rouse's Point Elementary, they play it.
Right, and they have an outdoor court now at the Rouse's Point Recreation Park.
Oh, well, yes, so it's a relatively inexpensive outlay, and, you know, that might be a real good thing. Like I said, I priced it, what I thought would be reasonable was $250. I may go to somebody who's an expert and say, no, you've gotta have better rackets.
Right, or surface.
Or surface, well, the surface should be good, it's just, but the balls, I mean, you know, they start talking about, well, you know, these are cotton wrapped over a hard rubber core, and these are felt wrapped over a hollow inner core, and, you know, it was just, and the fence, the net was, you know, anywhere from, you know, even $50. I mean, it wasn't expensive, including the post, but, you know, it worked well. But that would be good to talk to Rouse's Point and
See what they've done.
see what they've done. So that definitely, I mean, that's inexpensive, and it is something a lot of people currently are playing and seem to be hooked on it. I mean, you watch Facebook, I mean, my gosh, it's like, we don't care if it's a thunderstorm and a chance of snow, we wanna go out and play, where can we play?
When I was taking off, I know Andy Landry's been after me for a long time to get involved. I told him, once I retire, I'll find time to do that.
But, yes,
Well, anyways, I think it's a very useful grant, if we can get any amount of money.
Right.
yes, and if we don't, this
We have-
serves as a template.
We have nothing to
And
lose.
nothing to lose, and we have an
Nothing to lose.
idea, like pickleball maybe, you know, you know, except for drawing some lines on the basketball court, you know, the outlay is very inexpensive, and most of the professional players have their own rackets, and it's just providing the net, and because Alan Racine brought the old recycling building up there, we have plenty of storage. I mean, it's fantastic. So the highway crew and Alan did a good job bringing that up there, and it's really good.
I have one more question. Has the town received this grant before, or any portion of it that you're aware of, or?
Yes,
Okay.
but, you know, they're such small grants, that, and they do want to spread them around, they want people to become more active. So it depends on their criteria of what they consider are the most active projects trying to be funded, and, you know, in the same area. You know, if the Village of Champlain or the Village of Rouse's Point applies also, I'm sure that might make a difference. And if they say we'll do a $20,000 project and only use $5,000 of the grant, they might be more inclined to go with somebody who's, you know, spending that much. But they're really easy to deal with. The county's been very good when I've talked to them, and it would be good if we could get their involvement with us.
I just have one more question quick. And so the grant application itself, does it actually ask for, you know, hard data as far as like what you have as far as like demographic breakdowns within inside the town?
Well, they just ask if it's an underserved area,
Okay.
more or less.
Okay, so they don't, okay.
They don't respond in 750 words or less. Please tell us how you will use this award, if appropriate, how the funded project fits into a larger plan to increase physical opportunities in your community. Which, if any items are already completed and which are planned for the future.
Okay.
You know, it's pretty simple, and then underneath, how many community members were engaged in the decision-making for this project? When we originally started this, we had a board of probably about 10 people who guided the project, and they did a survey in the entire area, and we have that. In fact, the county helped us do the survey. And is this a currently underserved area? Yes, Perry's Mills is. I mean, that's quite, you know, obvious, but we'd like to make it a magnet where people could at least go to practice softball or baseball, and soccer especially. That's always a good thing. And will any worker materials be donated by the municipality or community members? The bottles alone are.
Do they have a Dropbox on site?
Yes.
They do.
Yes, they do. It's a secure drop box, it's very good. We got it at Sam's Club. Took 4 of us 8 hours
Put together.
to put it together, this little plastic thing. Yeah. I think there was like 150 screws, 25 bolts. I mean, there was hinges on it, and there was soft hinges, and it was like, and I'm not exaggerating, That's how many people it took, 4 people, 8 hours. We were doing it at night, from the light, from the street light.
Flashlights.
Well, we didn't, I mean, you're looking at this little box, and all it does is it lifts up and you put stuff in it. And next thing you know, you're almost 8 hours with 4 people. It was incredible.
And slow learners.
I mean, so I'll put that down as a donation of time from the.
There we go.
And, you know, will any work or materials be donated by the municipality or community members? I mean, they're very simple questions. They aren't trying to get you bogged down in 100 different things. They just want to know it'll be put to good use. And we've got a sample budget. I apologize for not giving you copies of it, but
That's fine.
it's very simple. I mean, it's, that's the entire sample budget, but, you know, plus the narrative of up to 750 words. And so the demographics and the information, we do have that, you know, from when we started the project.
Also move to have Brian go ahead with this grant to
Okay,
apply
thank you.
for up to $5,000.
No second.
Thank you. Any other questions?
And
Thank you for all the time.
Yeah.
And thanks to Sarah for bringing it to our attention and offering to help.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That's about all I have. You have your dog control officer's report on the desk this evening. It's very extensive. Post audit bills. Right, we do need a motion to approve the monthly bills. Second one. I'd like a motion to approve. If that's the will of the board, we must pay our bills.
New York Rural Water Association, $600.
That is training for Mickey and John Cooper.
Okay.
They're not cheap, they're useful.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, well, it's like the Association of Towns
Well,
for us.
plus it's required, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
you gotta keep their certification.
So,
Okay, so you really have no choices there.
so they have a monopoly on that.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah,
I'll make a motion that we approve the monthly bills.
I'll second that.
thank you. You'll notice the bill is in here this evening for the new copier that we got. It's really working fine. And that's a great savings over several years.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Sarah, for that. Did I have a motion in a second for the bills?
E. Clark, I think, made a motion and I seconded it.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Does anybody else have anything to bring before the board? I do need,
I think I've mentioned that I did get an email response back from Josh Howell, who's the president of the League Association there. And he will be meeting with me on Friday around 10 o'clock. And the scope of the meeting will be simply to try to identify where we could begin to manicure an infield area. In other words, keep the grass cut shorter there and fill in low spots with black dirt, hoping that the outfield and other areas can be continually cut by, as we have done in the past with Allen, just to keep it cut. Maybe, I don't think we'll be making hay this year, but it might get to that point if we don't get it cut.
it must be growing now with the,
Oh,
with
man,
the rains.
it's gotta be flying.
Yeah, okay,
So I'll be meeting with him on Friday.
okay, thank you. Let us know what happens.
I'm sorry?
Let us know what happens.
I will certainly do that.
Okay. I do need a motion, if there's nothing else, for an executive session to discuss a contract.
I'll make that motion to go to executive session.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, thank you.